Hi, everybody. Welcome to another one of our weekly Talk to Georgian live chats here on Instagram. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jenny Thompson. I am the social media specialist here for Georgian College. Today, we're going to be talking about all things financial aid. So, in just a minute, we're going to be bringing on Ashley Armstrong. She is the manager of financial aid and convocation here at Georgian. So if you're at home and you're thinking, you know what, I could use some more money for college. If you're curious about our new COVID-19 hardship bursary, which we just announced this week, or maybe about some government benefits that are available for students, what might be available there, or even if you have general questions about OSAP, bursaries, awards, anything like that, for sure, put them in the comments below, and we will do our best to go through as many of them as we can and answer them the best that we can. So before we get started, and I see some questions coming in already about fall intake, if you have any other kinds of questions as well that we don't address today, a really great resource to check out is our website, georgiancollege.ca. It's got tons of information on there, including what we're going to be talking about today, which is financial aid. It also has all the different COVID-19 updates and information that we have on our site. And in the comments, you can see we've got a representative from our international center, the IC Georgian account, that will be answering some questions in our comments as well. And they've just linked to our updates, our latest updates for fall. So that's great. So you can find all of that information again on our website, georgiancollege.ca. A lot of our commonly asked questions are answered on there. So if you do have anything that you'd like to talk about or get answers for that we haven't touched on today, that would be a great place to start. So we're going to bring in Ashley Armstrong now, manager of financial aid and convocation at Georgian. Okay, just waiting for her to connect. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, perfect. I'm trying to be in a room where there's no kids or dogs or anything. So
you and me both.
Yeah.
So tell us first a little bit about what you do at Georgian.
Sure. So yeah, as you mentioned, I'm the manager of convocation and financial aid. So a bit of a mixed bag there, but for today's chat, we'll be talking about financial aid. So financial aid is actually where I came from. I've been at the college for 12 years, and I've been part of the financial aid team since 2011. So I was a financial aid officer for a number of years, and then I moved into the management role about a year and a half ago. So we have currently 4 full-time and 1 part-time financial aid officers, and we are part of the Office of the Registrar. So we work in the same area as, registration, admissions, all of those teams. And so work closely with them. But primarily what we work with is OSAP is kind of our, the biggest part of our job. So we help to facilitate OSAP applications for domestic students, as well as any other out of province student aid. So we do have some students who join us from other provinces and territories in Canada. So we assist them with their financial aid applications, processing those, confirming enrollment for that funding to disperse. And then in addition to the sort of government financial aid programs, we have some institutional support programs that we run. So various bursary programs that we support and run through our team. The hardship bursary we're going to chat about today. So that's been one that we've been working on for a couple of weeks, and we're glad to see that launched this week. We also have a Georgian bursary program that we run every term that I think we're going to chat about. Work study, we help to support employment on campus, when we're on campus, of course. So yeah, a number of programs that we offer, emergency bursary assistance to help students who find themselves in some unexpected financial situations. We can sometimes offer some support there. So A lot of frontline student support. We love connecting with our students, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, even in these crazy times, we are still connecting with our students.
That's it. So our team is all working remotely, obviously from home, but still able to connect with students via email and phone. And so, yeah, a lot of questions. Obviously, we understand at this time, and yeah, they're still there to support.
Yeah, and I'll just flip my camera around just to show everybody. If you're looking for more of this information, if you go to georgiancollege.ca, just our main site here, under the Finance and Fees tab, you can find lots of more information of international and otherwise how to pay your fees, awards and scholarships is up here. We even have budgeting tips and tricks, bursaries, OSAP, all kinds of information. So another great place to start for some of that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a step-by-step, how to apply for OSAP page in that will help students, especially if, maybe you're looking at coming in the fall and you've never applied for OSAP before. You maybe have some questions about what kind of information you're going to need for that. So all that information can be found there.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm seeing a question come in. I want to jump right into the new COVID-19 hardship bursary, but I want to answer this quick question. We've got baby girl 19801 who's got a question about they have some questions about OSAP, but they want to speak to somebody. How would they do that? What's the best way to contact you guys?
Yeah, so you can call, 705-722-1530 is our line to financial aid, or our email address is financialaid@georgiancollege.ca. So either of those routes will take you through to, to our team of financial aid officers. So the way that we divide our students is by last name. So once you're a registered student with us, you get assigned to a financial aid officer. But if you're at the stage where you're just sort of thinking about applying in the future and you're not really sure who to connect with, certainly any of those, so either the financial aid email or our general phone line, we'll connect you with one of our financial aid officers, and they can provide you with any of that information on a general sense about how to apply, what steps you need to take, when you would do that type of thing.
Yeah, perfect. So let's jump right into the big hot topic this week. We launched the $1 million COVID-19 hardship bursary.
Yeah.
So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so this came out of a group that was formed from some different areas in the college. We recognize that this current economic situation caused by COVID-19 is creating some difficulties for our students, and we want them to know that we see that, we understand that, we recognize that it can be difficult, and we want to support as much as we can. So as you say, it's $1 million. It's that funding's come from a variety of sources, so we've pulled it together into one big pot, and we created an application that is available through the student portal. So the bursary is open to full-time registered students in the summer term. So if you are starting classes next week in summer term and you're experiencing some financial difficulties as a result of COVID-19, you can apply to this. You go to the Money tab in the student portal, and there's a page right over on the left-hand side in the sort of menu options. It will say COVID-19 hardship bursary. That's it there.
The portal here, and then just right here.
Yeah. So there's information there about the bursary itself, around eligibility and the categories for assistance. So some examples of where a student may be experiencing financial need as a result of this would be, let's say you had expected to be working a number of hours during the summer term, and that's how you were planning on paying for your groceries. And now your hours have been cut, or your employer is closed. You could apply for assistance. The bursary is $500 per student. if you are a recipient. And the application is from that link, it takes you to an online form. It's very easy to apply. It just asks you some sort of general questions about yourself and your situation. There is a budget, so it will ask you to report on any income and resources you do have. So if you're receiving OSAP, for example, or you might be working but only a few hours a week now. So you report all of that in the budget, and then you, in the next part of the budget, it will ask about your expenses. So you can let us know your tuition and book costs, your rent, you know, if you're a student who has a family and you have childcare costs, all of that is included in the budget. And then it's going to ask you to type a little explanation as to how you've been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic in regards to your financial situation. And you have to upload supporting documents. So, you know, that example I used a minute ago, a student who maybe has had their hours reduced or their employer is not open, and maybe they have a record of employment showing that they've been laid off, or they have an email from an employer saying, you know, I can only offer you 5 hours a week now, or whatever that looks like for that student situation. You would just upload that. I will make mention, we've had a couple of questions about uploading. And so there is a file limit of 3 files. The files can be PDFs or image files. So if you just take a screenshot of your email on your phone, you can upload that JPEG file into the application. The application is available through computer or mobile phone. So however you access the portal, you can apply through either. And then you submit it. And so you'll get a little pop-up that says thank you when you've submitted it. If for any reason you're having any difficulty with uploading, or if you have a question at all about the application that's not covered in that information that we have on the page in the portal, just email us at covidbursary@georgiancollege.ca. So we've set up a dedicated email for this bursary because we have staff from both the financial team and the international team who are helping to support students, and will be working on sort of the back end of this and can respond to inquiries and help support getting those applications in. So the application for that is open until Wednesday, June 3rd at 4:30 p.m. And then once the application closes, we'll be doing all of the work on our end to assess and evaluate those applications. And then we will be notifying students the week of June 15th.
Perfect.
That's it.
And I'm going to keep this up as I talk. So I saw some questions coming in. People were just clarifying, is the hardship bursary, is that for domestic and international students?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's open to all students, provided you're registered full-time in the current summer semester.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Great. So we've got tons of, it's very exciting. This
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we've gone all over those main points, deadlines, who's eligible. If anybody's missed that information, it is on our website as well. We will be posting this live chat on into our Instagram stories right after we're done here, or just after 1:30. So you can get that information there. Lots of questions coming in. This is fantastic. Thank you so much to everybody who's sending in questions and participating today. So I want to touch on other emergency bursaries as well, Georgian, that Georgian has. Can you tell us a bit about those?
Yeah, so the financial team in the Office of the Registrar, we handle financial emergencies for domestic students. So I will note that international students would contact the International Center if they're experiencing a financial emergency. There's some slight differences in the application process for those students. And so we want to ensure that they're properly supported. For domestic students, you can connect with financial aid at georgiancollege.ca or give us a call. And we do offer emergency bursary support when students are experiencing a financial difficulty that, you know, they couldn't have budgeted for. So we've had students where they've experienced a flood, for example, or maybe an unexpected car repair, And so our team, and that's where I was saying earlier, where students are connected with financial aid officers based on their last name. So you'll be connected with your financial aid officer, and then you can work with them they'll ask you to fill out a bursary application and provide documentation. So depending on your financial emergency and what's happened or what the situation is, that will sort of dictate how that process rolls out in terms of what types of things they would ask you for. But yeah, we support students regularly with those types of things. We know that you can plan and budget, you know, to the best of your ability, but sometimes things do creep up that you couldn't have expected. And we want students to feel supported and know that they're not at jeopardy of needing to withdraw or anything if they're experiencing something unexpected. So our team's happy to support.
And we're getting some questions too from some students about can they apply to, say, these emergency bursaries or this new hardship bursary if they've already applied to the government, the CERB, CERB?
Yeah. Yeah, so the hardship, the COVID hardship bursary, we will ask you to include that income. So if you are in receipt of or expect to be in receipt of the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, or we did include also the Canada Emergency Student Benefit, which has an even funnier acronym, SESNI. So we've included that in the budget fields because, you know, if you are receiving that, it is a resource. So we'd like to see that that's factored into your overall budget for the summer, but you're not excluded from receiving the bursary if you have other supports. You may be a student who's receiving OSAP funding. You can still apply for the hardship bursary as well.
Okay.
Yeah. You will need to report, if you're an OSAP student, you do need to report the emergency response benefit as income in your OSAP application. So if anybody has questions about that, if you're an OSAP recipient and you're also receiving that CERB benefit and you have questions about impacts, please connect with your financial aid officer. And if you're not sure who that is, then just email our general line and then you'll get forwarded to your individual financial aid officer for support in that.
Okay, great. And I feel like we should jump right into some of that the government benefits that have become available for students. Can you tell us a little bit about you know, the Canada Emergency Student Benefit and how can it's not, we don't hand it out or anything
right
at Georgian, but how can students learn more about that and apply?
Yeah, so we've heard some information about it, but as you said, we don't facilitate the application for that. Students would just go to canada.ca, which is the federal government website, and then there is a link to all of their COVID related supports, and they're sort of broken down by categories. So there's supports for individuals and families, there's supports for businesses, and then there's a link there to the Canada Emergency Student Benefit. So from what I've heard, the application is expected to open tomorrow, Friday, and students will be able to apply then, and it is a payment of $1,250 per month for students, or $2,000 if you have dependents or if you're a student with a disability. So that's what's posted on the federal government website at this point. And they do have some information there around who can apply, you know, what information you'll need to gather. So I would encourage students just to check that out if that's something that you're interested in applying for. It's not something that our office will be, you know, like we don't accept documents for it or anything like that. But happy to, you know, if students have, yeah, there we go. If students have any questions, so if you click on that, get the support you need. So there's the one about the response benefit, and then further down is the one right there. So when you click on that link, it will provide a link to a second page. where it says get ready to apply. And that's where you're going to find all of the information about eligibility, the steps to apply, and what you would need to do in order to access that funding.
Perfect. Great. And I guess if anybody has more questions or they forget where you said to go or anything like that, for sure I'll show these emails again as well. That would be the financial aid email, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, and we also have a link to that support, as well as there's some provincial supports available. They're all on our page in the student portal. Right on the home page, when you click on the Money tab, if you scroll down, there's a couple of links to
Money tab.
Yeah, there we go. So if you scroll down on that page, so that's some of our general financial assistance for students that's available all the time. That will link you through to the financial aid page and some other information. But then we have included some specific supports that are available currently because of COVID-19. So you can see there, that first link, we'll update that as that application becomes available. And then there is some provincial supports available as well. So we encourage all students, if you're a full-time student, you should apply for OSAP. Even if you don't want to take on loan funding, you don't have to. You could see if you're eligible for any grant funding. And it's as simple as clicking a button in the application to say grant funding only. So that's a great option for students. If you're not already accessing OSAP, we certainly encourage domestic students to do that and take advantage of that available grant funding. There's also some additional supports that the government has introduced, the provincial government, because we know we have a number of students who have dependent children. They may be single parents, and so there's some supports available if you haven't already accessed them. When the strikes were happening and there was the elementary school strikes, there was some funding that was provided to parents. So if you had applied for that, you would be receiving this additional sort of top up of that automatically. But if you hadn't taken advantage of that yet, you can do that now through that link. So all of that information's on that tab. And if anybody has questions, they can certainly connect with us.
Yeah. Great. And I know we always get questions too about fall intake, of course, and fall semester. I mean, we're not even quite in summer semester. Yeah. We're already wondering about fall semester. So yeah, always thinking ahead. So and just quickly answering some questions too. You can find lots more information on our website, of course, georgiancollege.ca, including updates about fall, the latest updates on that. I guess right now we don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we are moving ahead with programs. So we will make sure to let you know, the current and future students know exactly what that's going to look like as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. So in terms of financial aid for Georgian as well, are you expecting any changes this fall for fall semester?
So far the federal government has made their announcement about increases to student grant funding so the OSAP program is a combination of federal and provincial funding, and you may access a grant or loan funding or a combination of both. So students who are applying for OSAP for the fall will likely see, once those assessments run during the summer, that their grant funding is going to be a little bit higher next year. We haven't heard yet from the province on exactly what their funding will look like, if they are making any changes, but they already offer grants as part of their sort of student funding package. So when you apply with that one application for OSAP, you're accessing all of those available supports, and the federal government has increased their grants. So that's great news for students, right? It's less money that you have to pay back. We don't have an exact date that application for fall OSAP will be open, but the ministry has posted that it will be open in May. So we're about halfway through the month so far, so it should be soon, but we don't know an exact date. So just keep checking back, osap.ca, and once that application's open, you'll be able to apply for fall. And then you'll get an estimate when you apply for how much you might receive based on the information you've put into your application. And you can use that to sort of, start to create a budget for your upcoming academic year.
Perfect. Yeah, so osap.ca, you said.
Yeah.
Great. And so in terms of awards and bursaries and those sorts of things, what's available right now for students?
So students who are currently registered full-time can apply still for the Georgian bursary. That's through our website. So that website that you showed, there's a link right to the bursaries page. And that application is open until June 15th. So Monday, June 15th is the last day to apply for OSAP if you're in summer term, and the last date to apply for the Georgian bursary. So mark that date in your calendars, get your applications in before then. And you could receive a $1,000 bursary under that program if you're a full-time student and you haven't received a Georgian bursary so far this year. So students are eligible once per academic year for that. And then awards and scholarships and bursaries will open again for the fall term, probably in, we hope, mid-August. And
I think Ashley just froze there, I think. Hopefully we can get.
Sorry, I got kicked off there for a second.
Oh, that's okay.
So then they'll open again in the fall, and just keep checking our website for information on when that next cycle opens.
Okay, great. And then where they would apply and find it would just be on that sort of, sorry, I'm just gonna take us back to the website. So under the finance and fees, and then here's the bursaries here under paying for college.
Yeah.
And then awards and scholarships is here as well.
That's right.
Perfect. Oh, and there's the bursary page.
And there's the Georgia bursary right on the top. So there's some information there around eligibility. And then you can just click through to apply to that right there on the website. And the COVID hardship bursary and the Georgian bursary are two separate bursary programs. And if you receive the COVID hardship bursary, it does not mean that you won't be eligible for the Georgian bursary. You can apply for both if you have need.
Perfect. That's great. Lots of opportunities there for students.
Yeah.
And then some people were asking, we did get a question earlier as well. So if somebody doesn't have any job, they could also potentially get some of this money from from some of these bursaries.
If they don't have a job?
Yeah, there's no...
there's no requirement that you have to, I mean, we know for some students, it's, depending on the program you're in, it may be difficult to sustain employment. Some students choose to, but we don't base our bursary decisions on whether you're working or not. Yeah, it's just based on need. So when you fill out the application, if your budget shows that you have a financial need, that's really what we're looking to support, is those students that have a shortfall in their budget.
Yeah. And I know that we do have some money as well for things like groceries, even for things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's through our colleagues in GCSA. So with the Georgian Food Locker being closed essentially because of not being on campus, one of the other ways we've established to support students who have food insecurity is if we identify, so typically the route is that a student would connect with financial aid first if they are experiencing financial hardship. And then if within those conversations, the financial aid officer determines that the student has, is experiencing some food insecurity, then they can connect that student with GCSA, and the student may receive a grocery gift card via email. So then they can get some additional support. We may still also offer bursary support, but that way the student can also use some of that money from GCSA to help with food.
Okay, perfect. That's great. So this is covering lots of bases, which is fantastic. We love supporting our students.
That's it.
So, and before we were right up against the 1:30
Yeah.
time,
It went fast.
I know, I think we could do a whole other half an hour about this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see, are there any other updates or supports you'd like to mention for, especially for this summer semester for students?
I mean, like I said, I just encourage all domestic students. I recognize I'm only speaking regarding them with this, but really apply for OSAP if you haven't already, because it's funding that's there for students, and that's the whole purpose of it. So we really encourage all students to do that. Get your applications in for Georgian bursary. We've got money that we'd like to give out to students who need it. And then for all students, that COVID hardship bursary is there until June 3rd. So please make sure you apply to that.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think we'll leave it there. So thank you so much, Ashley, for taking time to answer questions, and for everybody. It was so fantastic to connect with everyone. Thank you so much for all your questions. For anybody else, we've gotten so many other different kinds of questions, you know, just related to other general updates about fall intake, about deferrals, and even about ancillary fees and refunds and that sort of thing. We are posting all of our updates to our website, so I would really recommend that you check that out. It's georgiancollege.ca. And I'll just do a quick show. We've got tons of information on there, especially on our COVID-19 updates page. You can't miss, it's that giant orange bar across the top. You can click there, or right here on the front and center. And that'll take you onto our COVID-19 page, and it's all broken down by semester as well. You'll notice there's finances, fees, and refunds. So if you click on there, that'll actually break all of this information. A lot of what we've been chatting about is broken down right here, and you can find that information as well. There is a separate page for updates for international students. So definitely check that out. In the meantime, thanks again to Ashley and to everyone for joining us today. You can please watch our Instagram for our next live chat next Thursday, May 21 at 1 p.m. We're going to be talking about student services. We're back to the summer semester, and come to learn all about what we have to offer and what we can do to support you guys. So awesome. Take care, everybody, and stay safe.
Thanks, Jenny.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.